great. And what about you, Dylan? Do you know anyone who is bilingual?
My parents,
Very good. So what languages can your parents speak?
Chinese and English.
Very good. What about you, Ryan? Do you know anyone who is bilingual?
My parents too.
And what languages can your parents speak?
They speak Chinese and English.
Very good.
And,
Thank you for...
Dylan and Ryan are twins.
Oh, okay. I can't see you because of my screen sharing. Okay, I see now. Okay, awesome. So you have the same parents. Okay, thank you guys for sharing that and using complete sentences. So when we think of being bilingual, what are the benefits of being bilingual? So why is being bilingual a good thing? What do you think, Esther? Why is being bilingual a good thing?
Because when you go to another country, you can speak language with them.
Very good answer. So being bilingual is really helpful if you want to travel and go to another country. And that way you can communicate with the people there. And there are many other benefits or good things that come from knowing more than one language. Okay, so now let's move on to our next word, existing. So repeat after me, existing.
Existing.
Very good. So we use the word existing to talk about something that exists. And we know that the word exists means something that is here, something that is real. So let's look at our example sentence to see how this word can be used. The existing houses in this city are all very old.
The existing
houses
houses
in this city are all very old.
Very old.
Very good. So if we use the word existing to describe these houses, that means the houses that are there, the houses that are currently there in that city are very old. So this one can be tricky to explain when we don't read it in a story. So once we read our story and see this word, we'll get a better understanding of how we use the word existing. And as always, if you have any trouble understanding these words, you can always look at the second page of our story to see the translation into Chinese. Okay, so let's move on to our next word, sign.
sign.
Very good. So a sign is a symbol or message that gives information or instructions. So let's read our example sentences. The sign says the bathrooms are down this hallway.
The sign says
the
Bathrooms are down this hallway.
hallway.
It is easy to see stop signs because they are usually red.
It is
Easy
to
to
see
see
stop
stop
signs
signs because they are
usually
usually red.
Very good. So we see some pictures of different signs here, and signs can be different in color or in shape depending on where we are, but a lot of signs have pictures so that we know what they mean. So if we look at this sign right here, I want you guys to think. What do you think this sign means? Dylan, what do you think this sign means?
Is the students go to school?
Yeah, very good. So we see right here it says school, right? And we see maybe this is a student and a parent walking. So this sign shows that in this area of the street, students are going to be walking across the street to go to school. So drivers should be careful and watch to see if any students are crossing the street. What about this sign? Ryan, what does this sign mean?
You want to stop.
Very good. So this is a stop sign. So if we're driving, we would stop if we see this sign. And what about this sign, Esther? What does this sign mean?
You need to go to the bathroom. You can see this sign.
Very good. So it shows where the bathroom or restroom is. We see the arrows pointing where the girl bathroom would be and where the boys bathroom would be. So signs are very important to know. So very good. Let's move on to our next word, exit.
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 Very good. So the exit can be a door, it can be a window, or any area where you can leave a building, a room, or a vehicle, like a car or even an airplane. So it's a place where you can leave, where you can leave. So let's read our example. It is important to know the exits of a building in case of a fire.
It is important to
Important
know
to know
the
the
exit of
exit
a
of a
building in
building
case
in case of
of
a
a fire.
fire.
Very good. So we see these pictures here. Here is an exit sign by the door. And here is another example of an exit sign if there was a fire. So why would it be important to know where the exit is if there is a fire? Ryan, what do you think? Why would it be important to know where the exit is? So we know the exit is where we can leave the building. So why would it be important to know where the exit is if there is a fire?
When you see the fire, you can run away the door.
Yeah, very good. So if there is a fire, we need to know how we're going to get out of the building. Where are we going to run away to? So it's important to know the exits because if there's a fire or something else bad happening where we are, we will know where we can get out. Okay, so let's move on to our next one. Common.
Common.
If something is common, that means it happens a lot, it happens often, or it is seen in large amounts or numbers. So let's look at our examples. In the United States, it is common for people to speak more than one language.
In the
In
United
the
States,
States,
it is
it is
common
common
for
for people
people
to speak more than one language.
Language.
In many places, it is very common for people to have pets.
In
In
many
many
places,
places,
it
it
is
is
very
very
common
common
for
for
people
people
to
to have
have
pets.
pets.
Awesome reading, guys. Very good. So again, if something is common, it happens a lot, or we see it a lot. So for example, in the United States and in many countries, it's common for people to speak more than one language. So that means we see it a lot. Many people speak more than one language. That is common. Another example is having pets. Many people have pets, so it is very common. We see it happen a lot. So our next word is traffic.
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 Very good. So when we're talking about traffic, we can either be talking about people or vehicles. So cars, trucks, buses. So if we're talking about people when it comes to traffic, that means there's a lot of people walking in a space or area. So like we see in this picture at a school, there are a lot of kids walking, so there's traffic. In our second picture, we're talking about vehicles, so cars, trucks. So there are a lot of vehicles on this road. So this is a picture of traffic. So now we're going to read our examples. During lunch at school, there is a lot of traffic in the hallways.
During
At school, there is a lot of traffic in the hallways.
My dad has to sit in traffic on his drive home from work.
My
My
dad
dad had to sit in traffic on his drive home from work.
from work.
Very good. So I have a question for you. At your school, is there a lot of traffic in the hallways? What about you, Dylan? At your school, is there a lot of traffic in the hallways?
No.
Thank you, Dylan. So can you answer in a complete sentence?
No, it isn't.
Very good. Or you can say, no, there is not a lot of traffic. So that's a good thing. I'm glad there is not a lot of traffic at your school. What about you, Esther? At school, is there a lot of traffic in the hallways?
Sometimes it's a lot of traffic in the hallway, but sometimes no.
Okay. So sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Very good answer. Now, Ryan, where you live in your town or city, is there a lot of traffic on the roads like this? Is there a lot of traffic on the roads?
No, there are not a lot of traffic.
Very good. I'm glad to hear that. So many people get upset when there's traffic when they're driving or walking. So very good answers. Let's go on to
How
our
about
next.
Sarah? Yeah, Sarah, you can.
Oh, Sarah, I am so sorry. I can't see everybody, so I forgot. I'm so sorry, Sarah. Thank you, Luke. So, Sarah, at your school, is there a lot of traffic in the hallways?
No, it's no.
Okay, very good. So, what about in your town? is there a lot of traffic on the roads, like in this picture? In your town, is there a lot of traffic on the roads, Sarah?
No, it's not have. Mm,
No, there is not a lot of traffic.
no, it's a lot.
There is not.
There is
It's
not
not traffic.
not traffic.
Very good, Sarah. Thank you. And I'm sorry I forgot to call on you. I'm very sorry. I will make sure to call on you for the rest of class. So thank you for waiting, Sarah. Very good answer. Okay, so now let's go on to our next one. Repeat after me. Area.
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 An area is just a part of a place or even a part of a building. So this word can have a lot of uses. You can use it to describe a lot of different things. So let's look at our examples. All areas of the city will get a lot of rain today.
All
All
areas
areas of the city will get a lot of rain today.
This area of the library only has children's books.
This
This
area
area of the library only has children's books.
Very good. So again, an area is just a part of a place or a part of a building. So we could be talking about a country or a city. So in our first example, all areas of the city will get rain. So that means whatever city you live in, the entire city, each part of the city will have rain. So that's talking about an area of a place. So we could also be speaking of a part of a building. So for example, in a library, a lot of times there is an area or a part just for children's books. So we see a picture of that here. So this would be the area of the library for children. So again, an area, a part of a place or building. Next, to increase.
To increase.
to increase.
Very good. So to increase something is to get bigger or to make something bigger. So let's read our example sentence. There has been an increase in the number of students at my school.
There has
There
been
has been an increase in the number of students at my school.
Very good. So if there's been an increase in the number of students, that means the number of students has gone up. There are more students at your school. So we see this picture here of the arrow going up. So this shows an increase, something getting bigger or a bigger amount of something. And so we see that in this picture here, an increase in the number of students. There are more students. Okay, our next word, exposure.
exposure.
Very good. So exposure is experience something or being affected by something because of being in a particular place or a particular situation. So when we look at our examples, it'll help us understand what exposure means more. So let's look at our examples. I watch English movies to increase my exposure to the language.
I
I
watch
watch English movies to
to
increase
increase my
my
exposure
exposure to the
language.
language.
Too much exposure to the sun can be bad for your health.
Too much
Too much
exposure
exposure to the sun can be
can be
bad
bad
for
for
your
your
health.
Very good. So exposure can be a good thing or a bad thing. It depends on what you're talking about. So in our first example, we have somebody who wants to learn English. So we see our picture here. I watch English movies to increase my exposure to the language. So when you are learning a new language, you want to have exposure to it. That means you're around it. You hear it a lot. You're able to speak the new language a lot. So when you have a lot of exposure to a new language, when you're around it a lot, you're able to learn better. So this would be an example of good exposure, trying to learn something new, like a new language. There can also be bad exposure. So for example, if we are in the sun too much, if we are around it, so have that exposure, it can be bad for your health. So you can have many different sicknesses or other problems from being in the sun too much. So that would be bad exposure. So are there any questions about this word exposure? I know this one might be difficult to understand. So are there any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you. So as always, if you have any questions or want more examples, or if you don't understand, just go ahead and let me know. Okay, so that was all of our words that we are learning today. So now what we do in class, once we've gone over these words, we want to practice using them. So now you get to take the time to use at least one of the words you learned to create your own sentence or sentences. So use at least one word. You can use more if you would like. And when you are finished, you can type your answer in the chat box. So right there in the chat box, you can type your answer when you're done. So don't be afraid to make mistakes because right here is where we get to learn and practice using these words. So now you have time to do that, and when we're done, we'll be able to share our sentences.
大家把那个这边的生字造一个句子，打在那个 chat 那里，这是聊天室那里，在底下有一个 chat 聊天室那里。
So I see one sentence, thank you. You can all take your time, as much time as you would like to make your sentence. We have plenty of time. We have 2 more. Thank you, guys. And our last one. Okay, very good. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we will be able to hear what you guys came up with. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just call on you one at a time and please share your sentence with us. So why don't we start with Sarah? Sarah, can you please share your sentence?
Traffic sense.
Do you need help, Sarah?
Sarah, could you read it again? Sarah,再念一次好吗？ Traffic signs. 你静音哦，你要打开那个麦克风，打开麦克风，再念一次来。Traffic signs sometimes.
Traffic signs sometimes appear on the wall.
Very good. Great job, Sarah. So in your sentence, you used traffic and you used sign. So you used 2 vocabulary words and your sentence is perfect. Thank you so much. Great job. Okay, Esther, can you please share your sentence?
In a department store, there is a sign marked the exit.
Very good. Thank you, Esther. So I see you used sign and exit, and you used them both perfectly. So great job. Awesome. Dylan, you're next. Why don't you share your sentence with us?
We get stuck in the traffic for 2 hours.
Awesome job. So Dylan used traffic and you used it perfectly. So you've got the meaning down. Great job. And Ryan, can you please share your sentence with us?
He had always been bilingual in Chinese and English.
Very good. Awesome job, Ryan. Perfect sentence. You used the word bilingual and you did so perfectly as well. Thank you. So great job with these sentences, guys. I think you have the meanings of these words down. So awesome job. So what we're going to do now is go to our story. We want to see these words in action. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to take a look at our story. And we're just going to read the first paragraph. So why don't we start with our title? Esther, can you please read the title of our story?
Bilingual signs.
Very good, bilingual signs. So what we do now is I read first. So you will listen to me read, and then I will read one sentence at a time, and you will repeat after me, just like we did with the vocab words. So the first time, just listen. The second time, repeat after me. So let's begin. Taiwanese schools are trying to become more and more bilingual all the time. A good way to do this is to make all existing signs English and Chinese, like exit, bathroom, and other common signs. Another way is to put signs in high traffic areas to increase exposure to English. So now we're going to read it again, and I will read one sentence at a time, and you will repeat after me. Taiwanese schools are trying to become more and more bilingual all the time.
Taiwanese schools are trying to become more and more bilingual all the time.
all the time.
A good way to do this is to make all existing signs English and Chinese, like exit, bathroom, and other common signs.
A
A
good
good
way
way
to
to
do
do
this
this
is
is to make
to
all
make all
existing
existing sites
sites
English
English
and
and
Chinese
Chinese
like
like
exit, bathroom, and
and
other
other common
common signs.
Another way is to put signs in high traffic areas to increase exposure to English.
Another way is to put signs in high traffic areas
areas
to increase exposure to English.
Very good. I know that last sentence had a lot of those new words in it. Great reading, you guys. Awesome. So now let's talk about this first paragraph. So our first question is, what is a good way to make schools bilingual? What is a good way to make schools bilingual? Ryan, what do you think?
To make all existing sites English and Chinese like exit, bedroom, and the other common sites.
Very good. So these schools are making these signs in English and Chinese. Now, why do you think making the signs in English and Chinese will help students to be bilingual? Why will those signs being in English and Chinese help students to be bilingual? What do you think, Esther?
They can learn the English and know the Chinese.
Very,
What the vocabulary means.
very good answer. So if you see all these signs when you're walking around school, you already know Chinese. You know what the Chinese word is, but now you see it in English. That will help you to grow your vocabulary of your English words. Very good. So where else do schools put these signs that are in English and Chinese? Where do they put the signs? Dylan, where do they put these signs?
traffic areas.
Very good. So can you repeat after me? They put signs in high traffic areas.
They put signs in high traffic areas.
Awesome. Great job. So yeah, that's perfect. They put the signs in high traffic areas. So why do they put signs in high traffic areas? Why do they put signs in high traffic areas? Sarah, what do you think?
Increases
Exposure?
exposure to English.
Very good, Sarah. So we want to make sure we know what it means by high traffic areas. So if these areas have high traffic, does that mean there are a lot of students or not a lot of students walking in that area? What do you think, Ryan? What does high traffic mean?
Many traffic.
Okay, very good. So, but what does that mean? Does that mean there are a lot of students, not a lot of students in that area? What do you think, Esther?
It's a lot of students in the traffic areas.
Very good. And you were correct too, Ryan. So thank you for your answer. So by high traffic, that means there are a lot of students walking in those areas. That's what high traffic means. So if there are a lot of students walking in these areas, by putting those signs there, a lot of students are going to see them. So they'll get more exposure to English. They'll be around the English words more. So do you guys have any questions about this paragraph? Any questions at all? Or do you have trouble understanding anything?
No.
Okay, thank you, Esther. And hopefully you guys were able to understand this paragraph. And I think you were because you answered these questions very well. So now let's get some more practice. We have our worksheet. So I'm going to stop sharing the story and I'm going to share our worksheet. So whenever we have these worksheets, we have them usually in each class. So you have different practices that will help you to remember these words and to make sure we understand their meaning and know how to use them. So on our first page, we have some of the pictures from our slideshow earlier. So your job is to match the pictures with the correct vocabulary word. So if we look at number one, Dylan, which vocabulary word matches with number one?
Bilingual.
Very good, bilingual. And again, Dylan, what does bilingual mean?
Someone can speak two languages.
Very good, Dylan. Excellent. So again, bilingual, you're able to speak two languages. Great. Now, number two, Ryan, which vocabulary word matches with number two?
It is sign.
Signs, very good. And so we see a few pictures of different signs. And number three, Esther, which word do you think matches with number three?
increase.
Okay, so we could use increase if we think about it in a certain way. But remember, we had our picture of the sun. And if we have too much sun, it can be bad for our health. So it's not increase. There's another word we use to describe if we are around something a lot.
Exposure.
Very good, exposure. And so that could be a tricky one to use, but very good. So exposure. So this picture shows she had too much exposure to the sun. So very good. Thank you, Esther. And number 4. Sarah, what word matches with number 4?
Exit.
Very good. Exit, the place where we can leave a building, the door where we can leave a building. Number 5, Ryan, what matches with number 5?
Traffic.
Very good. Traffic. We see all of these cars here. And number 6, Dylan, what matches with number 6?
Increase.
Very good. Increase. So just remember an arrow going up. If something increases, there's more of it, or something gets bigger. Okay, great job. Let's move on to practice 2. And for this, I'm going to switch so that we can fill in the words together. So for practice 2, we have a few sentences that are missing words. They're missing the correct words. So we can see, here is our word bank. So we want to figure out what word goes in the blank. What word is missing? So number 7, the blank says that dogs aren't allowed in the store. The blank says that dogs aren't allowed in the store. What word would go in the blank? Esther, what word would go in the blank?
Sign.
Very good, sign. So now, Esther, can you please read the sentence with our correct word?
The sign says that dogs aren't allowed in a store.
Very good. Now, number 8, Kevin wants to be blank so that he can speak with people from another country. Kevin wants to be blank so that he can speak with people from another country. Sarah, what word do you think goes in the blank?
Kevin wants to be increased so that he can speak with people from another country.
Thank you, Sarah. So let's think about this. Kevin wants to be able to speak with people who live in another country. So they speak a different language. So if Kevin wants to learn another language, what do you think Kevin wants to be? He wants to know another language. So what word in the word bank means to speak 2 languages? Do you need help, Sarah? Would you like some help?
两个语言的那个字，你需要帮忙吗？会念吗？不然你用拼的。Sarah，你需要帮忙吗？你打开麦克风。
Yes.
OK 你知道哪一个字吗？你先不要关麦克风。你不知道 ？OK so she doesn't know the answer.
Okay, that's okay, Sarah. So if you don't know the answer, that's okay. You can just say, I need help. And that's perfectly fine. So let's see if we can get help from one of our classmates. So let's see if we can get some help. Ryan, what do you think might be the right answer for number 8? We want to get some help on this one.
Evan wants to be bilingual so that he can speak with people from another country.
Very good. So the correct answer is bilingual. So if we remember, Sarah, bilingual means you can speak 2 languages. So Sarah, can you read this sentence now with the right word in there?
Kevin wants to be bilingual so that he can speak with people from another country.
Very good, Sarah. Great job. And thank you, Ryan, for helping us out too. That's what we're here to do, help each other out. So number 9, when you are on an airplane, it is important to know where the blank are. Dylan, what word do you think goes in the blank?
When you are on an airplane, it is important to know where the exits are.
Very good. The exits. So we want to know where the exits are on an airplane in case there is a fire or something else bad where we need to get out of there. So number 10, I take a different way home from school so that I don't get stuck in blank. Ryan, what would be the correct word?
I take a different way home from school so that I don't get stuck in traffic.
Very good, traffic. And number 11, I want to blank the amount of time I play video games, but my parents won't let me. Esther, what do you think is the correct word for number 11?
I want to exceeding the amount of time I play video games, but my parents won't let me.
Thank you, Esther. So I couldn't hear you very well. What was the word that you used to fill in the blank?
Exceed.
Oh, exits?
No,
Increase?
no, it's existing.
Oh, existing. Okay. So it's not existing. So existing, we're only using the words here in our box. So what's the word that means to go up or to have more of?
Common.
So not common. So if you want to play more video games, but your parents won't let me or won't let you, what would be the word here? So it's not common.
It is increase.
Yes, very good. So increase. When we think of the word increase, think of this arrow going up. So if you want to have more time to play video games, that means you want to increase the amount of time you play. You want more time. So thank you, Esther. And let's move on to 12. In my class, it is blank for students to forget their notebooks. Ryan, what would be the correct word?
In my class, it is common for students to forget their notebook.
Very good, common. And so based on their meanings, it can be tricky between common and increase. But remember, common is something that we see happening a lot, but to increase is to make something bigger or to have more of something. So as you continue reading and practicing, you'll be able to see the difference between some of these words that seem like they can be close in meaning. So great job with this worksheet, you guys. You did very good. So for your homework, we have practice 3 left. So we have our directions here. Please answer the following question using complete sentences. In our story, we learned that Taiwanese schools are trying to become more bilingual by making all signs in both English and Chinese. If you were a teacher, what would you do to help students become bilingual? So you get to think about if you were the teacher. How would you help students to learn another language? So that's your homework, answering complete sentences. And next week in class, you'll be able to share what you came up with. So I'll let Luke explain that to make sure that everyone understands the homework.
如果你是老师的话，你要怎么样帮助学生能够把英文也讲好啊？就是 become bilingual，就是2种语言都可以讲。用你是老师的角度去写完整的句子啊。哈。Any questions? Okay, no.
Okay. Well, thank you guys very much.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they, even 3 of them are new. I think they did a good job.
Yeah. You guys did very good. I hope you keep coming. You guys all did a very good job today.
Okay. Yeah, I think they will join us next week. Thank you so much for the great class. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I'll see you next week.
Okay, say thank you to teacher Xiahna.
Thank you,
Thank you, teacher
Yeah.
Xiahna.
Thank you all. Bye.
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 Have a good weekend. Bye.